That's right. That's right. You know what time it is. It's time for another episode of Generation Sports Fantasy Edition. That's right. That's right. That's right. We're back and we're better than ever. And we're talking a little bit about week 3 matchups. We're going to go through a little bit of the Golden Goose League. We're going to mention a little bit about the standings, where we're currently ranked in the league. We're talking about the matchups and have a little outlook and see what we predict. And then maybe we might even break down a little bit what teams need to make a move. It's only been 2 weeks, but what teams have to do something or their season's going to be over already. We're going to overreact to everything just like we overreact to the NFL, and we're going to have a little fun. We may have a couple surprise guests. My co-host right now is trying to make some kind of he's involved in a 3-way or something. I don't remember what Terry's doing right now, but he may get off the back in here at some point. We'll have to just wait and see. But let's go ahead and let's go ahead and talk about the people that are here. I got with me over number hashtag 1 of 12, currently leading the league. Go ahead and say hello.
I think I'm on the wrong podcast. I thought we were going to talk about Adam Levine's text messages. Is that not what we're discussing today?
No, that's next week. That's next week.
Oh,
yeah. But then I also got with me the guy that's always below him, or likes to blow him, I should say. But he the theme song was made for him anyway, because he likes to get high. It's your boy. That's right.
The number one.
Number one,
baby.
Okay. And then we got everybody's favorite military man. He is so beautiful. He is so wonderful. I can't say anything negative about the guy. It's go ahead and say hello, Chris.
Greetings and salutations to you all. May you live long and prosper. Drink water.
I hope this guy gets many, many blessings in his future. He is just so beautiful. Such a wonderful man. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's break it down first, and let's talk a little bit about where our league standings are. Oh, let me get the right screen on here. Here we go. All right, so let's talk a little bit about where the league is right now. So right now at the top with the most points, undefeated, undisputed, La Flama Blanca, Sweet Fuego over there. Mr. hashtag 1 of 12, Gary, sitting at the top with 381.6 points, 2-0. Next, we got Manny. First or last, that's usually it's last for him, but he is currently in second, undefeated with 356 points, so not bad there, Mr. Manny. Next up, we got Filtrate. I'm just out here trying to find the blessings, hoping that I'm graced with them. Sitting at 2-0 as well with 333 points. I wish 3-3. I mean, third place, 333 points. Personally, I feel like that's an omen of some sort. Next up, we got Fantasy Bust, the guy who never gets to bust a nut. It's got, Terry out there, and he's sitting at undefeated as well, but only 308 points, so just behind myself there, but not far behind. Then we got Every Blessing Counts. That's Mr. Kenny. He's also 2-0 undefeated, but he's definitely hurting in points. He's had some, favorable matchups, but who knows if those blessings are going to change or not in the future, because he's only at 280 points. That rounds out the undefeated team, but not to be left out, because if the league ended today, he'd still be in the playoffs. AJ sitting at 1-1 with a heartbreaking loss last week. He's at 375 points, though. He is currently second in the points lead right now, and unfortunately just had a bad break. So we'll let that slide. Then you got Blessings to be all Mr. Filter. Don't know where he's at. He was supposed to be involved, but we'll see if he jumps on in a little bit. Sitting at 295 at 101. And then we got the bottom feeders, as we like to call them. We got Bob sitting at 0-2. You got D sitting at 0-2. You got Chris, who I hope the blessings come for. And he's up the schneid very soon, but we'll talk about his matchup. He's got things going negatively his way. You got on to Cincinnati, which is Mr. Izzy, and then at the bottom of the barrel, you got Mr. Zokan himself. 2 leagues, 1 champ. Yes, neither of them will be him, though, at the end of the day. So that is our standings currently for the Golden Goose League. So let's go ahead and let me roll this up and let's go into the matchup, and we'll start talking about those a little bit. All right, so we got the matchups. You know what? Let's start bottom up. All right, let's start from the bottom and work our way up. So let's first break it down into the 2 league, 1 champ versus on Cincinnati, 2 0-2 teams, right? that we're looking at, and let's take a look at their teams, and let's take a look at their predictions. All right, we got Mr. Zoe projected at 148, and then we got Mr. Izzy projected at 140. Currently, now anything can change, but
can you mute AJ?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and mute him again. My bad. So, since Mr. Terry is back in the action, let's start with you. What do you think about this matchup? Give me some insight. What do you got here?
Can you go up a little bit? I can't see the names of the teams.
This is you got Zoe here on your left, and you got Izzy on your right.
Yeah. Oh man, this is awesome. I actually wanted to talk about this. You guys were, off camera. We were talking about the best matchups, and I think this is it, man. I think this is the matchup of the week right here, right? We all have aspirations to make in the playoffs, and being 0-2 hurts. What do you think about being 0-3? I mean, that definitely put the percentages, pretty low, and it doesn't look good. So I think both teams, have a lot of potential. Just hasn't panned out for some reason. So are we saying like who we think is going to win this week?
Oh yeah, we got to give predictions.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that it all comes out to, to me, at least in this specific matchup, is whether Kamara plays or not. I think, he's still kind of like up in as far as like, practicing. I think he practiced today, or yesterday, which is Wednesday, which is good, even on a limited basis. But I think if I were to say, hey, who do you pick one here? I think I had to give it to Zoe this week, especially because of Davante Adams, Mike Williams, which that can also play into Herbert, whether he plays or not, as well. And, with Izzy, it's one of those teams, man, like, when you look at his team, I don't think that's a bad team as far as names, right? But when you actually dig into it, you got Cam Akers, we have no idea what he's going to do this week. We had Najee Harris, right, underperforming big time. He's actually playing tonight. And then you got Keenan Allen, which is hurt. And, we don't even know if he's going to play. He's on the same boat as Mike Williams. So if Herbert doesn't play, he affects both of them the same way. But I think he actually helps Zoe because Allen is hurt as well. So, so it's kind of rough. And then Aaron Rodgers has to go against Tampa Bay. I mean, that's a really tough defense. So I don't know. I think, Elliott, playing on Monday night, he hasn't really done that much. So, to me, this matchup goes to Zoe for sure. And he puts Izzy on a really bad spot because being 0-3, starting the season, I think he made the playoffs last year. So that's got to hurt a lot, right? Has a lot of high expectations I think these two teams are the ones that every single year come and say, this is my year. I'm going to win, And it has not happened for them too. So I'm sorry to say, Izzy, you're going to get the loss this week.
All right, what do you got, Chris? What do you think?
So I actually, I'm on the other side of the fence. I think actually Zoe is going to end up losing this week. Yes, granted, Elliott is not performing like he was expected to perform, and he has somebody right on his heels. But I think this is going to be the week that a lot of answers are had for a lot of these teams. And I'm just not referring in the league itself. Yeah, like the Giants, a lot of people feel as though the Giants should not be in their current position, which is undefeated, 2-0. We'll take it, who? But this will be the week that a lot of questions are answered, like Elliott, in regards to how is he going to be utilized in the future. And also, who was it? On Stevenson from New England, right? So there's still a lot of questions out there for a lot of these teams. They're still trying to get their good rhythm in, even those teams that are currently undefeated. But one of the things that I'm liking so far is that even for the Giants, a lot of the games that they did lose in the previous years would be from a field goal. But this time the wind is blowing in our favor. But as far as this matchup, I feel like Izzy is going to take it. Aaron Rodgers still has some stuff that he wants to prove to Tampa. And this will most likely be the last year that he will go up against Brady. And there's been some conversations being had amongst those two QBs in regards to a matter of respect. So I think Aaron Rodgers is going to try to do the discount double check on the Patriots. I mean, on the Patriots, on the Tampa.
All right. In order to keep this thing moving, unless AJ or Gary has something like pressing they really want to say about it, I'll let you guys speak. If not, I want to jump into, the next matchups. I want to just, because a lot of the stuff we say is going to be very similar. The only thing I do want, though, is I want each of you to tell me who do you think is going to win. So, AJ, you go ahead first. I want you to tell me, who do you got, Zoe or Izzy?
Gotta go with Izzy.
Okay. Gary, what you got, Zoe or Izzy?
Yeah, this is a tough one. I think it's going to rely on either like Cam Akers, what he does, and then the injury to Keenan Allen. But I think I'm going to go with Zoe just because that Keenan Allen. I don't know if he's coming back.
All right. I'm going to go with Izzy, and I'm because it's I am one of the heads of the show. I'm going to go ahead and give a quick 2-second reasoning behind it, whether you guys like it or not, because I am the one behind the scenes doing this.
I didn't hear you. You say you like to give heads. What do you say?
Yes, love it. It's my favorite time of the day. So real quick, I think the advantage. I understand Aaron Rodgers has a very tough defense he's going against, but when you're able to throw the ball, literally, not even a full yard and get a passing touchdown, that's an advantage, right? Let's be honest. He doesn't have to throw a ball down the field. He just has to push it forward to Aaron Jones and let him do the rest. So definitely in on that. I think Keenan Allen takes away from Mike Williams. So I think that's a downside on Zoe. And then, I know Elliott's not great and everything. And I think they're going to keep on feeding Cam Akers the ball. And what Tyler Boyd is a number 3. Stevenson has question marks. Ayuk's never been a favorite of Jimmy G. So I think there's just as much question marks on both sides. I will give a slight favor to Izzy on this matchup. All right. So let's go ahead and let's take this into the next one. Let me get back into the league overview. We do have another guest on. So we'll go ahead and allow him in. Welcome, blessings.
Blessings be to all.
You're a little late to the party, but that's okay.
Actually, no, he came in perfectly because I believe our matchup is next. So he came in just the right time.
No, the next matchup on the list, as you notice, is going to be D and Manny. We go from the bottom up. That's how we're rocking it. So what we're doing, Mr. Blessings, just so you know, is everybody's not going to necessarily break down the entire matchups. Like 2 people are going to break down the matchups, and the other people are just going to say who they think is going to win. So that way we can keep things a little bit, we don't repeat the same information over and over. So the next matchup we're looking at, though, is
hold on, I'm a bit confused. Sorry, time out. If we're going from the bottom up, then if it was the 11th versus 12th position, right? Which was
no. This is just the bottom up from what was on my screen.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
okay,
that's all. Yeah, nothing crazy. Just keeping it simple. All right. So Chris, go ahead. You were out here. You go ahead. You didn't get to talk about the last matchup. So what do you got on this one? What are you looking at? And what do you think?
So this is a panic week for D, in my opinion. This is a must win for him, especially for the draft capital that he had available to him after he made that trade with Moa. But even though he needs that win, I'm still gonna give it to Manny. I think Manny ends up winning this one.
Okay. I mean, that's all you got. Mr. Gary, you're up next. What you got, buddy?
Well, I think he's right that he has to win, and he's not going to. I think Manny's got he's in second, but he could have the best team in the league. Stephon Diggs is balling. Tua, he just put Tua in his lineup. You see that? He took Stafford out. He's got an excellent freaking team. McCaffrey hasn't even been performing up to his projections, so he's still got a lot left in the tank as far as scoring points. He hasn't quite hit his ceiling. CEH is balling out. Yeah, this team is going to win. I do like the trade that D made. I do like the Henry pick. I made a move on Henry today, so we'll see what happens if he can turn that into, turn that 10 into maybe like 2 8s or something, or just another running back that can produce. But I think he's going to come close, but because he's got Amos St. Brown, but yeah, he's not. Manny takes this one for sure.
I'll tell you what, I'm a little concerned about Manny this week, and just for this week, because the reason I'm concerned is, Tua's, listen, this is going to be a prove-it game for Tua, okay? Like, they're going up against the Bills defense, who has just been shutting down everybody. And as good as Tua's looked, let's see what he does against this defense, right? So I'll be honest, I'm a little concerned about Tua's output this week and what he can do. Jerry Jeudy, we don't know if he's even going to play yet. So he might have to scramble, and figure something out. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's to me still a question mark. I just think that he is outperforming for what he's doing at very minimal touches.
He's the guy there in Kansas. Like, they're giving him the ball.
I mean, but are they? I mean, look, how many touches has the guy got? Right? He's not like he's getting the ball a whole lot. I mean, if game script goes against him, like, he could be sitting with 8 points versus the 18 that he scores because he's scoring touchdowns. What happens if Clyde Edwards-Helaire doesn't score the touchdown this week coming up? Now, like I say, you just don't know. I understand that, but I'm saying that's why I still have some concerns with some of those players and some of the things he has going on. On the flip side, Jonathan Taylor, I think they're going to – I mean, I know it's going to be hard to be able to run the ball again like they need to, but they're going to have to get him more touches than last week, right? Like, they can't not get him the ball. And Derrick Henry, I think, has a better matchup this week against Vegas, but we'll have to wait and see. So I don't know. I think that D has a God-honest chance of, getting his first victory. I could see it happening. I don't guarantee anything, but I can see it. AJ, who do you got for winning this matchup this week?
Give me Little Fuego, Manny boy.
Okay. Terry, what do you got? Who do you got winning this one?
Yeah, I got Manny winning this one. I mean, there's too much fire and power. I mean, I think Manny's playing with fire, just putting Tua in there. I mean, I get it. He came from scoring 6 touchdowns, but, that Buffalo defense is pretty good. So I agree with everything you guys are saying. I just feel like, with the fire and power that Manny has, it's too many points. And I think D only has like 271 points and Manny has 356. So that it's what Mr. Mathematicians, he's averaging like 40 points more per week so far. So that's a lot to cover up, especially, like with the type of players that D has,
Okay. What do you got there, Mr. Blessings? Who do you think's winning this matchup? And if you have something quick you want to add to it, go ahead and feel free. We just don't need I'm just not trying to have a full breakdown by every person.
This is fairly easy, right? It should be Manny. Like Shea, everybody's down on Shea. Everybody's down on Sanders, and he got him at such a – that's really what's helping his team is Shea and Sanders. And I agree with the main point is what Gary said is that CMC hasn't even got – we're just looking at probably CMC's lowest floor that we've ever seen while he's healthy. So, yeah, give it to Manny.
All right. I mean, I guess I am the only one who gives D a chance, which is perfectly fine. But I definitely understand where you guys are all coming from and definitely respect that. All right. Next one up, we have Every Blessing Counts versus La Flama Blanca. La Flama Blanca will not be allowed to he can predict a winner, but he cannot give us a breakdown of the matchup because obviously it's a little skewed there. So but Mr. Filter hasn't had a chance yet, Mr. Blessings, to break down any matchup. So I'll let him jump in first, and I want to hear his take on what he thinks about this matchup and how it's gonna roll. The only undefeated team matchup of the week, too. So somebody's walking out losing. I mean,
and it's not checked this time.
Man, I really like Kenny's team. I think this is going to be Cooper did well last week. Like, hey, is it going to be like week 1 or is it going to be like week 2 with Cooper? Not sure. Waddle, same thing. Waddle week 1, man, not that much. And we just talked about it. Buffalo defense, right? So is Waddle going to put up week 1 numbers or week 2 numbers? We'll see. Like that Javonte Williams, is he still going to be on Gary's team by the time this happens? I know he posted that he said
that was a trade offer, yeah.
Yeah, so that could change everything with Henry.
Well, I get that. So we can only base it
off
of what we have in front of us. Yeah, only go by what we have in front of us.
Burks. I don't know. There's Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen, Eckler. We talked about that last podcast where what's going on with Eckler. Man, I think this is going to be a lot closer. I think Henderson's about to get back into the running back 1 for They keep trying to Cam Akers. It's not working. I think they realize that. I think Henderson's going to go in and be the one. Curtis Samuel, he's the number 6 wide receiver right now. What, number 7, number 8? He's in the top 10. Jefferson is Jefferson. I'll take Hill over Waddle. Wentz is the number 3 QB. Give me Kenny in this one.
All right. Let's mix and let's go with Chris. Why don't you go ahead and give a little input on this? I know you don't get to do a lot of the shows, so I'd like to hear you.
No, definitely. So, real quick, while looking at everybody's, this one I will give to Kenny. La Flama Blanca is not going to have a fiery pick. There's a lot of in-conference games this week on both sides, but I feel as though that Buffalo-Miami matchup is going to be very interesting. It's not going to be as high-scoring as everyone thinks it's going to be, not just on the Buffalo side, but on the Miami side as well. I think both defenses are going to step up. In regards to, Philly and Washington, I think that's going to be a snooze fest. Gibson is not going to give Gary as many points as he thinks he's going to give him. The game dynamic is going to change. I like the upside in regards to that Fournette for that Green Bay game. Fournette is still not really 100% healthy, but him and Henderson being on Kenny's team, that's going to be his workhorses right there. I get that he has Jefferson and Hill, but a lot of the games that he's going to win or lose is going to be based off of his running backs. But this one I'm giving to Kenny.
I'll be honest, man. I have concerns about both teams a little bit, just because of the matchups, right? Like Javonte Williams is a great back and everything, but they haven't been looking good in Denver, and they're playing against San Francisco, who's a fucking stout defense. So, I have some concerns on what he can do there. On the flip side, though, I don't know why, and there's zero reason to back it up. I personally think this is going to be a bounce back game for Eckler. And this is going to be a game where they're going to, because, I think what has to do with Herbert being banged up and having some fractured ribs, I think they're going to be like, hey, we got to get Eckler the ball. We got to get him involved. And they're going to try to pull the same thing Green Bay did last week with Eckler, with Aaron Jones. They're going to do with Eckler this week. So I do think Eckler is going to have a fucking stud performance. I have no reason behind it. But I also think Fournette, I know he's a little banged up, but I think they're going to rely a shit ton on Fournette. And they're going to run the ball like crazy with Fournette over there against Green Bay, because Green Bay's defense has not been showing up. Who's Tom Brady passing the ball to, right? So you're not going to have an option but to go ahead and focus on the run. So I think it's going to be a very close matchup. I think it's going to be a very tough one. I honestly think when it comes down to it at the end, it may come down to the quarterbacks, and I got more faith in Josh Allen. It's plain simple. I don't agree that Miami's defense, after what I saw them do with Baltimore, is going to be able to do anything to shut down Allen. The big question is, can Waddle and Hill be enough to overtake? And I know what people are thinking, well, look what Hill was able to do against Buffalo before and all this. Different team, different schemes to a degree. So I think it comes down to the quarterback, so I give Gary a slight advantage. Terry, who do you got winning this matchup?
I think it comes out to Jefferson, playing against Detroit. He can put up one of those crazy stats, 50-point weeks, in which can flip this whole thing and have Kenny winning. But I'm gonna have Gary, man. I like the matchup of Waddle at Buffalo versus Hill. I think they're gonna put the best corner on Hill, which will open up Waddle a little bit more. And I do agree with you on the Eckler. I think he's gonna have a great week this week, and I like that better. So I'm going to go with Gary.
And Buffalo's banked up in the secondary as well. Poyer and Micah Hyde are both injured.
Yeah, but I don't think it's anything serious from what I heard. They're going to play, I believe, aren't they? So, all right, AJ, who do you got winning?
Very tough. It's a good matchup. I listened to everybody's, I say it's a 50-50, and I'm just going to go, fuck you, Gary. I'm going to go with Gary.
All right, Gary, who do you got in your own matchup? What do you think? You take yourself, or you taking the?
Yeah, I think the winner stays undefeated.
Okay. Well, that's a good comment. Yeah, I agree. All right. So let's go ahead and we're going to hop into the next one.
That's funny, Gary. Why
What do we
people
got
feel-
next? Well, next we got Mr. Terry won't be commented on this one as far as the breakdown, but he'll get to make his pick. Next we got Fantasy Bus versus Bob's. We got 2-0 versus 0-2. Another one of those lopsided matchups that everybody's talking about. So I'll let Gary, you go ahead and jump in first and give me a breakdown of this one. Yeah, you, Gary.
Yeah, I'm here. Okay, so we got Joe Burrow. He is not performing to potential. He's getting tore up. I think he's got the most hits on any quarterback. So it's gonna be tough.
He's like 13 sacks already in 2 games.
Something like that.
literally.
Yeah, something ridiculous. Look, Bobby needs this win though, and he's got the talent to do it. Geez, I guess it's going to depend if they get Cook involved or not. Pittman's coming back right off the injury. Looks like Terry's going to play Garrett Wilson, who he stole from the draft. It's going to be a toss-up, man. I think it can go either way, but I think Bobby is going to pull out a win.
All right, what you got, AJ? What kind of analysis you got on this matchup? Hold on, let me unmute you. Hold on, time out. I forgot I got to unmute you. All right, go ahead, sir.
Wouldn't live be better if we can mute AJ every single time we want to? Come on.
What about you put a mouth guard on before you
Oh my
speak?
God, here we go. Let's keep it about football. What do you got? What's your analysis on this matchup?
Well, I really think Bobby could get a W here. I really think he could win because his team is not bad. I really think he could get a W. His team is a real good team. He just had bad luck. So I think Bobby could get a W here.
All right, great analysis. Thank you. Mr. Filter, what do you got?
I'm gonna I'm still gonna go with Terry. You know why? Because Terry finds a way.
Terry finds a motherfucking way.
And his wide receivers, dude, are just disgusting. I mean, Chase, Pittman.
They really are. Yeah.
It's Harris has been balling out for New England. I thought it'd be more of a timeshare, but Harris is also now getting into on the receiving work. Dylan, we've seen what he can do. The question mark is really going to be Pitts. And he also has Burrow marked out because if Burrow's throwing touchdowns to Chase, well, that cancels out that point. And DK Metcalf just ain't doing nothing. Nico Collins, no thanks. I mean, he's got the bottom half: Cook, Hunt, Kelsey, and Patterson. Kelsey's got to be his biggest advantage.
Mm-hmm.
That in the kicker spot. Terry don't even got a kicker in. So, that's going to hurt him a little bit.
Well, I'm sure he has to have according to league rules, he'll have a kicker in place.
I was going to drive a kicker, but I was going to pick a kicker in waivers, but Filter got him from
I'm
you.
just going off what we just talked about earlier. Hey, this is what I'm looking at. This is what I'm going off of. And I think Terry messed up, and I don't think Pitts is going to be what everybody wants Pitts to be. But I'm still taking Terry. I think Terry's going to win. Pretty
why
handy.
doesn't he have Nico Collins in there though? Why doesn't he have his bench though? You got Hunter Renfrow, Robbie Anderson, even I guess Watkins out, but is Nico Collins doing that good? I guess I'm not tracking him that much.
He's I would have Renfrow in. I would have.
Well, the problem with Renfrow is going through concussion protocol, so we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if he's going to play, right? So that's why he doesn't have him in the lineup right now. So, I do understand why Renfro's not in there because we don't know if he's going to pass concussion protocol.
Bob is another team that's there at the bottom that's 0-2 that needs to do something.
Well, we're going to get into that, and that's why I'm trying to keep this thing moving. Chris,
all right,
who you got?
My blessings go to Terry.
Okay, who your blessings going to, Chris? Who you got on this one?
So synopsis is going to be Terry. Bottom line up front, no matter how well Joe Burrow does, in my opinion, Chase is going to take most of those benefits. So the better that Burrow does is most likely is going to be because of Chase. So because of that, I'll give it to Terry.
Okay, breaking news possibly. We might have some breaking news live on the broadcast. Oh my God, we do. Breaking news, everybody. A trade has been made. Javonte Williams has been traded for Derrick Henry.
Ooh.
Breaking news just happened
on
the broadcast.
Gary, screw up.
Oh,
we might have to go back and revisit. We have to go back and revisit that lineup now.
Did it happen? Hey, wait till you see the next one, boys.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Dude,
boy.
Did I just trade?
Filters getting Williams.
I didn't even know.
Filters getting Williams. I'm calling
That's what it sounds like, boys and girls. We got some
it.
breaking news. All right, let me finish this one out, and we'll wait for the next trade to come through then before we break down the trade implications. I think the problem is they don't want to use Dalvin Cook for some reason this year. Kareem Hunt, I think, could be big. I'm praying for Kareem Hunt to be big this week. I need him to have a huge fucking game, get all the touchdowns, all the points. But yeah, I think the receivers are just too much. I mean, that is probably the nastiest. Even if you take Wilson out of it, it's just that's just such a nasty receiving core. It makes up for the deficiencies of everything else right now. So, Gary, who's that? It keeps on walking by behind you.
Oh, that's Shayna's mom. She wants to get in on the podcast. She wants to talk.
Oh, gotcha.
All
right, so let's go. We only got 2 more matchups to go. This one is Filter versus Mr.
Janet.
Chris. Right? So blessings be to all. So we'll go ahead and we'll let Terry jump in on the analysis since we're not letting these two break down their own matchup.
Filter is winning this. Here's the reason why. So no, I just have Chris has a lot of uncertainty on his team, man. Number one, Mike Evans got suspended, so he doesn't have potentially his number 1 or 2 receiver. Lamb is playing with Cooper. It's kind of hard to predict that, man. DJ Moore, man, I probably one of the most disappointing players, and I got him in a lot of leagues. So right now, Chris will have to choose between Valdez-Scantling. I mean, that's the only option. Basically, he has to put as his third receiver. So I mean, he could have a great week, right? Catch 2 touchdowns. I mean, with Patrick Mahomes, anything is possible. But when I look at his running backs on Bryce Hall, I mean, he's been catching a lot of passes, but he's still splitting, with the other running back over there. Edmonds disappeared last week, so we had no idea what he's gonna do. So to me, when I look at his team, it's just too much of a question mark. And on the other side, you have Aaron Jones, balling out. You had Drake London, great acquisition, by the way. I don't know who will trade Drake London. T. Higgins, Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin still on the fence, but I just seen, Jalen Hurts, man. I really wanted Jalen Hurts, but either way. So I'm gonna take Chris. I'm gonna take Filter on this one. Sorry, Chris. I know you're stressed out right there, but my bad.
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling you're going to see Montgomery. I don't know, because I know he's been pushing Montgomery. I feel like you might see Montgomery leave his lineup, and he might get Javonte Williams in there instead.
So I'm going to call it right now. Aaron Jones and Javonte Williams and Jacobs as his 3-man running backs.
Yep.
That's pretty nasty right there. So.
The question is, though, because I feel like he's going to try to put together a 2-for-1, because I don't think D's just going to give him up straight up. So the question is who else, but we'll worry about that later. I agree. I think unfortunately it's a bad week for Chris when it comes down to it. I really don't think there's much that we need to talk about. I think Filter's pretty much got a stranglehold on this game. It's going to take a miracle for Chris to do anything. It's not his fault. It's just a matter of circumstance with what you're looking at with the injuries and the suspensions and everything like that I think I just don't see when I look at his bench where he's going to go for help at the moment. So we'll move on to the last one. Which I won't be able to speak about myself, but that's okay. And neither will AJ. By the way, I take it everybody's on a Filter, right? Gary, AJ, you guys are all on Filter for winning that week for that matchup?
Yeah, I really wanted to come in here and talk some shit about his team, for being kind of middle of the pack. But I mean, Chris, other than Aaron Jones not putting up what he did last week, Filter's team. Other than Aaron Jones not putting up the numbers he put up last week, I think he's gonna do okay. I think he's gonna be doing okay enough to win that, probably by 20 points or so.
Yeah, I mean, so what do you got, AJ? You got Filter or you got Chris?
I'm going with the underdog.
Okay,
let's go, Chris.
Let's go. All right.
The problem is that you're not saying why. So,
That's
this is
okay.
so
He doesn't need to. He has his choices. Let him have them. Like I said, I'm trying to move things along so we can get into other topics. All right. So we got the last matchup of the week. You got myself.
Say anything?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Say something.
I'm giving my blessings to Chris.
Exactly why I didn't care what you had to say. Because we all know you don't believe that.
Chris.
We all know you don't believe that. So that's okay.
Well,
but go ahead, Filter. You want to talk? So go ahead. Start it off. Give me the breakdown on this matchup. What do you got? What are your feelings? Let's hear it.
for which one?
For the last matchup, me versus AJ. What the hell is AJ swinging around?
Let's
Is that
see.
his tampon? It's a bloody tampon.
Oh, that's that blessing necklace.
Oh, the blessing.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Hey,
So you got Herbert versus Mahomes.
So what do you got, Filter? Break it down. What do you got for this matchup? Let's keep it moving.
I'm trying here. I'm looking. Let's see. Let's see.
Well, I can come back to you, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So, Gary, what you got on this matchup, bro?
Yeah, I'm looking it over right now.
All right, Chris, what do you got on this matchup, bro?
Herbert.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Here, I'll
Too
start off.
freaking easy.
Here,
All
look
right,
this up.
spoiler alert. I'm sorry, Brian, Shaq Monster, but AJ's gonna end up winning this one.
Why is it a spoiler, though?
It's a spoiler because I'm really need Patrick Mahomes to show out.
Yeah, but what makes it a spoiler? He's projected to beat me.
No, well, come on now. Wait, really? We going over this?
I'm
The
just
reason
saying-
why
I know
it's
why.
a
Because
spoiler
you're
is
2-0. 2-0. You're 2-0.
Oh, okay.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, okay.
All right, next one.
All right, Filter, go ahead. You said you're ready.
Yeah. So first,
He ain't ready. He's gonna lose.
got the big game tonight with Johnson versus Chubb. Right. We got the Penis Bowl.
Mhm.
I'm excited for that. I don't like that you still have Thielen in. We know he's a bust.
Yeah, well, that's all part of my strategy. I just like to have the points to make it look like it's the projection points.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
listen to him.
Olave
It
or
will be a
Palmer
Lavier
or
playing,
something.
by the way.
Hey, don't talk about this matchup either because there's a trade up there between Check and I.
Oh, yeah. So it could change things.
So,
We'll
you're
see.
trying to get Andrews from Sheckman. Trying to give him the bust pits for Andrews.
Hey, double pit stop, pitman, pits.
Keep going, though. Let's break down this matchup so we can move into some other
I'm
topic.
thinking, hey, you know what? I'm going to go with the menorah.
Okay. All right.
I think Swift and Mixon are going to have pretty big games. Barkley and Chubb's going to have pretty big games. But I'm going to take Sheckman's over AJ's, and I'm going to give it to my blessings to the menorah and Sheckman.
All right. Go ahead, Terry. I know you're dying to talk shit about one of us. So, because, I mean, this is probably your favorite matchup of the week to watch. So go ahead. Go give us your input.
I mean, as much as I hate rooting for you, when you play against AJ, it's just automatic. You know what I mean? I'll definitely give you the win this week. And it's just when I look at AJ's team, I mean, it's just, I'm sorry, man. It's just garbage, I mean, you have, like, when you look at, like, I mean, I don't even know who to pick. It's just a bunch of really, like, who are these guys? I don't even know them. So I'm just going to go with Brian. I just like your matches better. I think the Andrew Swift, Joe Mixon against the Jets, you got I'm just kidding. I'm going to give it to AJ. I want to switch up.
Jesus,
I like
this
AJ.
guy's fucking flip-flopping.
No, I'm just kidding. I really don't know who to pick. I think both teams are pretty even. I think James Conner being hurt and not knowing, whether he's going to play or not, that scares me a lot. But you're just kind of like
Right.
Deontay Johnson, against Cleveland tonight. I mean, man, I don't know. I'm going to give it to AJ just because of Justin Herbert not knowing if he's going to play or not. So that's too much of an uncertainty for me. He might just be dumping passes, and I just don't like, that, you still have Thielen there, but at the end of the day, he could put up a lot of points against Detroit. That's the highest, projected scoring game of the week. So I think he could still get 1 or 2 touchdowns. So, But I'm gonna give it to AJ, even though I hate it as much as No way, I'm gonna give it to Filter. I'm sorry, to Chris. Sorry, I'm gonna pick Check.
All right, let's go, Gary.
Check.
You're up. What do you got?
Yeah, I agree with him. Man, there are a lot of injuries though on both these lineups. Between Herbert, between Connor, even Davis. I heard he's playing again, so that's good. This is really, truly a toss-up. If Herbert truly does not play, then that's it. I think you're done. But I'm going to say Shaq stays undefeated.
All right. So let's move into the next segment then. Sorry, I didn't mean to mute you, Gary. But yeah, I don't know who I think. I think this is, to me, the matchup of the week. I think this is going to be the one that, this one scares me. I'm not going to lie, man. It's just there's too many volatile players that could either be huge or nothing. Barkley could be huge or he could just have a performance. You just don't know, right? It could be it might not be Chubb's week. It might go back to being Kareem Hunt's week. Like, I don't know. But he definitely has the pieces to give me my first loss. And, so I wish him luck. And I say blessings to you, sir, AJ. Blessings to you. All right. So let's get back into the last part of our show. We got a little bit longer left. Based on what we're looking at with rankings and teams, and I can go into the teams and look at the rosters a little bit more, whoever you guys choose. And we'll start with Mr. Filter, because I know this is what he's disconnected, so we can't start with him. We'll start on the other side. We'll start with Gary. Looking at this, who's the team that needs the most? Who's the team that has to make a move?
Well, here is team. Derrick already made a trade, so I think that he did his move today. He's got another move coming later. My next one was going to be Chris. I think Chris has got he's got some room for improvement.
By the way, I just got an update. Gabe Davis, 100% confident he will play, so that doesn't bode well for me.
No. Let's see. I think Izzy's got a good team. I think his team could make it on his own. Chris has got a lot of Hail Mary guys. I don't know, man. I think I'd switch up a couple players on that roster.
Okay, that's a whole lot of zero insight. Filter, what do you got? Who's the team that needs to make the who's in a position they got to have to make a move? If not this week, after being 0-3 next week, who's the team who's going to have to make some moves?
To me, that has to make the moves is Izzy, because Izzy actually has the pieces to make some moves. Like, I'm sure he can move Elliott, or he can move Akers, or he can move Keenan Allen or Debo. Yeah. So I'm picking him just based off that he's the one that can make the moves. Where, to me, like Chris and Zoe, they definitely need to make moves. Chris needs to make moves. Zoe needs to make moves, or they're going to be 0-3, and then they're really in a hole. But I think Izzy has the pieces to legitimately make moves and make better moves than Chris or Zoe. Where Zoe has to move like Adams, right? That's who he's trying to move right now. But who on Chris's team are you guys trying to trade for?
I mean, if I was going to trade for somebody, I'd trade for Evans. Even him sitting out a week, for suspension.
But to me, it's Izzy just because of the pieces that Izzy has. But Izzy, Chris, and Zoe all need to make moves.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Like, the one thing that I always look at is, like, you offer a trade at the worst timing. And I love Zoe to death, and I know he's probably gonna get pissed off I say it, but like, you picked the worst week to offer up fucking Adams. He just came off of 2 receptions for 12 yards. I get it, he got a touchdown, but it just does. That's not the right time to make.
Yeah, but we all know what Adams is. Like, it's not. No, I'm not gonna. If I go trade for Adams, I'm not gonna try to trade for him because of 12 points. I'm gonna go.
I get
trade
it.
for him for what he did.
Everybody, but this is the thing I always laugh about. Everybody says they know what a player is, but they know what a player is when they were on the team they were on, right? Did Javonte Adams ever have 2 receptions when he was in Green Bay in his entire career, outside of maybe in the last 4 years? No, right? So you're talking about a player that's in a new team, a new coach, a new system. You don't know what the outlook's going to be. I'm sorry, I just don't agree. He's not. You don't know that Derek Carr is going to be able to get him the ball the same way. Like I said, I know Adams can be huge. I've just never been as high on Adams this year as everybody else, maybe. But I digress. Terry, what do you got?
I didn't know he was selling him. I'm going to make him.
Yeah, he put him in the league. He's looking to move him.
I missed that.
Hey, what? Actually, I'm gonna rephrase that. I said Izzy. My apologies, but now because I was waiting for my shit to load up. But yeah, Zoe should be. I mean, Zoe, Adams, Ayuk, Mike Williams, Stevenson, Kamara. I mean, he can use a flex, but I think it's Izzy and Chris. I think Zoe can be all right. He just needs a piece here or a piece there to do well. But I think it's between Izzy and Chris.
All right, Terry, who you got? Who's in need of the most to make a move, or their season's going to be over before it started? Got to unmute yourself.
So
I got you. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I agree with Filter as far as Chris. I guess he comes out to. I know Chris is not worried about it because it's a long season. That's how he looks at it. So even if he starts 0-3, he's just gonna count on potentially winning. I think that every game that you lose, it just puts you, further ahead from making the playoffs. I just, to me, it's like, what is Chris going to do this week, to trade, to be able to get him to try to win this week? That's kind of what comes out to. So unless he's trying to sell, maybe like Lamar Jackson for another quarterback and another piece, that'll probably be the only thing that I can see him do it. But I do agree that Easy is probably the one that definitely has to move. Aaron Rodgers, it's kind of, hard to predict what he's going to do, but he has some name players, right? Elliott, Deebo Samuel. I think those are guys that you could potentially get some, other players for him that, just because of the names. And then, Zoe, I don't know why I will try to sell Javonte Adams. That's the one player that can win you, your whole lineup, as far as the week. So I think between them, I think D's doing what he's supposed to do to be able to get where he needs to go. But I'm gonna say Easy. I think Easy is the one that needs to move again, some pieces. So,
Chris, you got anything you want to throw out there?
Yeah, I know I'm in the bottom, and some of the great points that were brought up by everyone so far. But in my opinion, it is Izzy. It might sound contradicting, but a lot of the players that Izzy has are, yes, they're those reliable players for their teams, but they're not league winners. A lot of the players that he has are not league winners. And the best way that I can summarize this is, case in point, started with his quarterback. Aaron Rodgers has been the MVP how many times, but yet he can't win, the Super Bowl anymore. You know what I mean? Like that's how I envision Izzy's team right now. And yeah, I get it. I got a lot of high upsides, and certain pieces need to fall in place for my team the way that it's constructed, but I'm looking and relying on those rookies a lot this year compared to in the past. But Zoe's okay, but even after this week, even if Izzy ends up winning this week, there's still some moves that he has to make in order for the long run.
Yeah, the one thing about Rodgers, he won back-to-back MVPs, but he's always finishing like 9 or 10, maybe even a little bit further in fantasy football. So that doesn't, you're playing the field doesn't always equate to fantasy production, right? Nobody's going to say that freaking last year Jalen Hurts was a, MVP, even close to an MVP candidate, or a great, an elite NFL quarterback, but he sure as hell was pretty damn elite for fantasy, right? So definitely things don't equate that, 100% off of NFL to fantasy. AJ, what do you got? You got anybody you want to throw out there that needs to make a move?
Is he here?
I'm trying to unmute him, but it's not working.
Sounds like you froze a little bit.
Anyway, all right. You guys want to dive into that trade that just happened real quick?
Wait, we missed a team that I didn't bring up a team. Hold on, I didn't bring up a team.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead. Bring your team up. Who do you think needs to make a move?
We tend to look at the bottom teams, right? The 0-2 teams to see which one needs to make a move. But I was going through the rosters. How about Terry's team? You think that he's got 3 wide receivers that are excellent, right? They're great, and Garrett Wilson could be up and coming. But the running backs are suspect. Kyle Pitts is he's been busting so far. Kirk Cousins.
it's not a running back.
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins is not a running back.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
We don't need your comments there, Terry. He's allowed to speak his mind without you getting offensive. Okay, don't make me mute.
I'm just saying. Look, if you were to rate those running backs amongst the entire league, probably the bottom, right? You rate that quarterback amongst the entire league towards the bottom, right? It's the disparity between the positions and wide receivers is like no bueno, Bobby. So look, you need. I think that he could make some moves. Break up one of them.
I think that what it comes down to, though, and I'm speaking for him, and I'm not saying it's the case, but I think the way he looks at it is the way he always looks at it, right? Those 3 to 4 receivers will outscore enough of the in positional battles that he may lose in running back, but he's going to dominate in 4 other positions when it comes to the flex and the 3 wide receivers, that it's not going to fucking matter.
So what needs to happen then? Do all 3 of those need to hit, and then the other one's going to be mediocre, or does one need to hit?
Well, that's he has those. That's what his mindset. I guarantee you, and I say this as if he's not here because he's not going to give us an honest answer probably. But his mindset that they're look at you're talking about. These are like top tier receivers. These aren't like average. These are the elite receivers in the league. So in his mind, they're going to hit every week, and that's going to be fine. Because what do you really think Cooper Kupp's not going to have hit on a low week? He's probably going to score you 15. You expect, right? You don't expect him to get you a 5-point week.
But 15 ain't enough, though. 15 ain't enough to make up for what Harris
but 15 is enough for him to beat.
Are not doing.
But 15 points is enough to win the flex position. See what I'm saying?
That's not fair. But Garrett Wilson should be there. He just put Cooper Kupp in the wrong spot.
But regardless, what I'm saying though, 15 points. If he gets 15 points and Jamar Chase gets 35 and Michael Pittman gets 30, that makes up the difference. You see what I'm saying? So in his eyes, as long as he's winning the positional battle at 4 of them, he's going to get enough points from the other players that it's not like he's going to get beat down in running back that bad unless he's going up against an Aaron Jones who puts up like 50. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way he looks at it. So I don't see. I'm not saying he's not going to make a move, but the one thing it's going to be very hard to see Terry move anybody in his starting lineup. He's going to do what he always tries to do, and he's going to try to push all of these bench players down here. That's what he's going to do. He's not giving up any of those receivers.
This will help you. This will help your team out. I swear. Dude.
Yeah, he's not going to give up. He's not going to give up any of those receivers.
So Gary, let me ask you something. So you think that you have to have stud running backs to be able to win?
I think you need balance, and I don't think you have it.
Why not? I got J.K. Dobbins coming back. You got A.J. Dillon and Damian Harris. They're not stud running backs as far as like Austin Eckler, but you got people there.
A.J. Dillon and Damian Harris are RB3s, RB2 upside.
But I think the difference. So here's the one thing I will agree with Gary on, right? I don't think it's not about necessarily having stud running backs, right? But what you have to have is the running back position. I feel like can have a better consistency if you have the right people in place, right?
Yeah, he can get 10 points with just 2 running backs, and you would not be surprised. You know what you're going to get from most running backs. Yes, your receivers, you feel like you know what you're going to get, but most of the people are going to put Davante Adams in that category. How many points did Davante Adams get last week? Right? Justin Jefferson, they're going to put him in that category. How many points did Justin Jefferson get last week? Right? So I do think I do understand where Gary's coming from. The volatility at receiver could bite you in the ass, but the difference is that I agree with you, Terry, why you aren't going to move any of them is because when you have 4 of them, yes, one of them may not strike, but what are the odds all 4 receivers are going to have a bad day? Right? That's pretty hard to happen.
And at the bottom line, it's like, here's a question for you. Would you rather have Cooper Kupp or Jalen Waddle?
It all depends on who my running back is, right?
That's my point. I just want to say that. No, who would you rather have right now?
No, we're not. You can't do that because the whole point is.
Can you just freaking answer and then I can move on to my next point? Just answer.
Well, no, because it's a stupid question.
It's
why
not.
Why are you going to ask? Just move on with your point. Nobody's going to say Jalen Waddle. Who is that?
But that's really that's fine.
Waddle.
That's fine. So let's just say you say Cooper Kupp. So can you move on to the next point? I know you're running this show, but geez, man.
Waddle.
Well, we're wasting time. You asking redundant questions.
All right.
Just get to your point.
Would you rather have Eckler or would you rather have A.J. Dillon?
See, once again, you're asking moot points. Get to your point.
Okay, so would you rather have Jalen Waddle and Eckler, or would you rather have Coop and Dillon?
Waddle and Eckler.
You rather have Waddle and Eckler?
Absolutely, 100%.
Of course, you're gonna say yes because the point that I'm trying to
100%.
make doesn't agree with that. You're crazy.
No, I'm
bro.
just saying. Like, I
You're
would rather because Waddle has the potential of having that upside, and Eckler Eckler has a better floor. He's so if you ask me, I would rather have that matchup.
Sounds good, man.
That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But but that's like I said, I agree. I think running backs are like.
Just to let you know, AJ Dillon has 2 less points than Eckler. Thank you.
Yeah, and AJ Dillon is running at his kind of. People will say he's running at where he's going to be all year. Eckler's not, right? Did you say Eckler's producing like we expect him to?
Do you think Dillon is producing at a high expectation?
Yeah, I think he's
Higher,
producing
yeah.
where we expect him to.
There's
a difference.
12 points last week.
Yeah, we expect him to be about a 12 to 15 point. He's going to have bigger games, but
So you expect Waddle to do the same thing he did last week?
no. But I expect him to be able to get like 15 points.
And you don't think whatever. This is a moot point. Let's move
Go
on.
ahead. What you got, Chris? I know we got to wrap it up.
On to the trade.
I got it. Shaq Monster. I got it. I know radio etiquette, all right? I'm just saying, let's move on to the next topic.
All right, let's talk about the trade. Filter, what do you think about that trade that went down? I know you're in the probably works of making one, but what do you got, Filter? Is he just listening? He's not participating anymore?
Hey, just FYI, Javonte Williams is on this bench right now.
That's really relevant.
I think he's on the move. No, he's on the move. That's what happens in NFL. He has to bring up to the active roster.
Filter's in the process of doing it right now, probably. That's why he's not responding. All right, so what do you think, Gary? What do you think of that trade? You're the one who made it.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous about it. I mean, because you got a running back who's producing and one that doesn't. I mean, obviously, you got a higher ceiling in Henry. Look what he did last year with those 8 games or whatever, and he was still like a top 5 running back. So that's why I did it. I'm a little nervous because I had something that worked. I'm trading for something that I hope is going to do better. You know what I mean? So,
my question is this: did you have any hesitation moving for Henry after what happened to you last year with Henry?
Well, I really wanted Henry in the draft.
Okay, I'm just curious. Like,
that's who you thought you were gonna pick.
For me,
yeah, I was. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I was.
For me, I would get a little bit nervous, after I got burned by him. Like, shame on, first time, shame on you. Second time, shame on me, type of thing.
Well,
like,
I think he's got a good matchup coming up this week too, and I think he's hungry, so he's due. So
my problem,
you'll see.
My issue with Henry, and I'm just giving. I know it doesn't mean shit because my opinion doesn't matter. But my opinion about Henry is I am nervous as hell about the fact that who are you afraid of catching the ball? Right? Why as a defense am I not putting 8 in the box every single game? Who is going to beat me on the outside?
Yeah, they don't have receivers. You're talking because they traded AJ Brown. They have
if they sold AJ Brown, it'd be different. AJ Brown demands respect.
Well,
right?
I think this is how we'll look at that trade, right? Because I just made a trade for a tight end that is not performing, right? A tight end that it was drafted in the 3rd round and his old name right now. I think that to me, the way that I look at that as far as Gary is you're giving up on a player like Javonte Williams that has the potential to be Derrick Henry. Now he's still splitting somewhat with Melvin Gordon to whether Derrick Henry has nobody. So to me, Gary just basically trading, in my opinion, and I'm just gonna look at it as far as points, right? I'm trading a 15-point running back for a 12-point running back with the potential that that 12-point running back has been a 25-point running back, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So to me, that's basically what I'm doing. So he's losing a little bit as far as like what Derrick Henry can give him, but the potential of Derrick Henry potentially higher because of the fact that Javonte Williams has Melvin Gordon behind him. Yeah. So I can see that, which is somewhat the same thing that I did with my trade yesterday. So
you know what I love about fantasy football, though? The thing, and this is what we've talked about it. We talked about it earlier in the league, but we didn't talk about it on here. And this is the last topic, and then we're going to wrap it up. Why is it that a number is more valuable than a name? Can anybody explain to me how that works?
I think it's the opposite.
No, it's not, right? So if we went by the draft capital, right, nobody in hell would trade Javonte. There's no way in hell you're to give up Derrick Henry for Javonte Williams, because who's going to trade a top 5 pick for a late second, early third round pick, right? I'm sorry, nobody on earth is going to do that. Same thing we talked about when Zoe made that trade earlier in the season, right? Didn't we all say the same thing? The game hadn't even been played yet. But for some reason, the number holds value more than a name. How is that? Like, I don't understand it. So somebody explain it to me.
I just don't think that happens all the time. I think that the names are the most of the trades happen because of names, not because of the numbers. I can see because otherwise you will.
Why not draft those names higher then?
What do you mean? I mean, you're drafting Derrick Henry in the first round, so you're drafting
but Javonte Williams, where was he drafted?
He was drafted in the second round. I mean, you're trading a second rounder for a first rounder,
and that would be. I mean, people would laugh at that shit.
Yeah, I think if it was a third or fourth rounder, it might be a little bit different. I get your point. I get what you're saying. I just think that would be most of the case. I think that would be most of the case if you go trade like that amount Sam Brown, whatever the fuck his name is, for like Chase, right? Like that to me will be like your points thing that you're trying to make. It's like, oh man, I'm going for those points because like this guy's scoring so many points versus the name of who Chase is as a whole. And then you're talking about a first rounder versus what was the matter of Sam Brown, like 8th round?
Something like that. But Javonte Williams has a lot of potential too. He is in a timeshare, and he is trending upward, and he is getting the PPRs. Like he could be, like he said, what Derrick Henry was. Like he's got potential.
Are you scared about him right now?
Listen, I think this trade, I don't see this is a win for Gary. Okay, I do not see how this trade is gonna help D win. Okay,
well, he didn't take it for Javonte Williams. He took the trade because he's going to trade. I told you missed it earlier, but Filter wants Javonte Williams. He's about to trade Javonte Williams right now.
Yeah, he's about to get like Montgomery and a receiver for Javonte Williams.
I get it. So. I get it. But what does D get out of that outside of trading with Filter?
He figures in his mind, he's hoping he's going to have a starting running back still in like a Montgomery, theoretically, right? We're just using them as an example. And he's also going to now get a starting receiver. So you're taking one player who, we all say there's some issue, right? There's some concern coming off an injury. He's older. There's no receiving core. So they're going to be filling the box. You take that and you can flip that for another starting running back and a starting receiver. I get the thought process. I'd understand that.
But you see, that's not the thought process, because here's one for you. Okay, I had conversations with D, all right, about a possible trade, and what he was trying to get from me was a quarterback. Okay, so what exactly is he trying to really accomplish? I don't think he really knows what he's trying to accomplish at this point.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know.
I think we have to wait and see. I think the idea with D, I don't think he's doing that trade just to keep that player. I think I mean, I see it both ways. I already kind of gave you my thoughts in regards to each Henry and Williams. I think it comes out to him trying to get something else for Williams. And at that point, it's basically like you're trading Henry for 2 players, right? Or potentially, like more. Like the idea will be, when you get to that position, Chris, what we're talking about, it's like you having Lamar Jackson. Do you think Lamar Jackson can put up 50 points every week? Right, he has the potential, but it's not guaranteed. Now, could you go and trade, for example, like Lamar Jackson and I don't even know your bench, but like somebody else, right, and then get another quarterback and a starter, somebody from your bench. So and let's just say Joe Burrow, right? They're just not doing that good. Could you go trade for Joe Burrow and another starter for Lamar and a bench player? How would you see that on your team? You see that as an improvement?
So to back up a little bit, before the trade was done for Pitts, all right? So there was communication in regards to Lamar and Pitts being involved in the trade with D. But apparently, I guess I didn't respond fast enough for him while I was at work. So then that's when you made that trade with him. But
what was your trade? If you don't mind sharing that.
Huh?
What was your trade?
I think at that time I was looking for a running back and a tight end. So my package deal would have been a quarterback. What was it? I think it was a quarterback, bench running back for his quarterback tight end. And there was another piece I can't recall right now.
We do gotta start wrapping it up. My last statement. Yeah. If D takes Javonte Williams and he turns it around for David Montgomery and Christian Kirk, is that not an upgrade from Derrick Henry? Yes or no? It's real. I mean, just
yes.
What do you think?
I do. Yeah.
So that's, and I'm not saying that's going to be the trade. I only reason I even put out Christian Kirk because you guys mentioned before that players on your bench could be theoretically.
No, it's going to be Christian Kirk because the filter doesn't believe in Christian Kirk. But Christian Kirk is high right now, so he'll sell him. That's how he does it. Okay, just like he did with Sutton. Just like he does with every single player. So high,
theoretically. So in the long run, D's gonna he was able to take Derrick Henry and he's able to get 2 starters on his team. Because let's be honest, if you look at D's lineup, tell me Christian Kirk's not going to be an immediate starter.
He will be, yeah.
So I get what he's doing here if that's the case. Because if you look at his receiving core, if you look at his team, and I'll put it back on the big board real quick one last time before we wrap this up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you could easily take out Duvernay, who's in concussion protocol as well, and throw in Christian Kirk, and then you're going to be throwing in
starters, yeah,
you're going to be throwing in Montgomery there. You know what I'm saying? So and
he still had James Robinson, so even if it's another player, he could still put Taylor and Robinson
exactly,
and then upgrade at that receiver spot.
So yeah, I definitely think he's going to be. I get where he's coming from and what he's looking to do there. So that's
his team is good, man. His team is good. If Duvernay got points for kickoff return yards or something, or touchdowns, right? He don't get points.
If Henry would have started off the season being what Henry should have been, I would have lost the D week 1. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I barely beat him, and that's because Henry didn't do shit. So I get where he's looking at, like, fuck it, man. I need players who are going to help me win now. I can't wait and see if Henry's going to figure it out like you can, Gary, right? You have a team built that even if Henry doesn't show up again, you're okay with it. You're like, fuck it, man. It's not the end of the world.
Now, here's a question for you, Chad.
Yeah, go ahead.
So if that was the case, then why is Chris not making moves? Do you feel like D is 2 weeks on this other season and you're trading Derrick Henry being 0-2? Do you think that's a week 4 kind of move?
No, because I think by week 4 your season could be over. If you're 0-4, you think he has a shot at anything? And what's his value going to be? What's Derrick Henry's value going to be in a trade if he's had 4 straight weeks of shit? Right? Because here's the thing. If Henry comes out, and it could happen, if Henry comes out and balls the fuck out the next 2 weeks, you're not trading him anymore, right? Because now he's a good player, and you're like, well, fuck that. He's a staple of my league. Like, he's almost in a position, it's either now or never. Because if Henry has 3 bad weeks, are we really going to be looking at giving the same value for Henry? I know it's Henry, but are you really going to look at the same value for him, right? I think this was the perfect opportunity. I know, I'm wrapping it up. This is the perfect opportunity for him to get the most value for a trade. I think D did the right thing making a move now rather than waiting till later.
Not yet. We still have to wait if he makes that trade or not.
You're right. You're right. I'm basing it off of the second trade. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry. Yeah.
But yeah. So what are we trying to hang up too fast?
Just everybody. It's been over an hour. It's 3:00. Don't you gotta go get the kids?
No. I'm good.
Oh. So. Well, it's nobody's gonna watch this for over an hour. That's why I figured we'll wrap it up. We can stay on here and talk, but I'm gonna end the recording.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. So for Generation Sports, for myself, for my co-host, Mr. Some would say donkey teeth, but I wouldn't. My boy Derrick. Oh, I love you. You give me a hard time. I'm coming back at you. Real quick, show everybody your anti-blessing poster you have in the background.
Me?
Yeah, your anti-blessing poster.
I'm showing around.
Okay. So for everybody out there, I hope you have a blessed day. Blessings be to all, and blessings to AJ in tonight's matchup of the Penis Bowl. Good night.
Penis Bowl.